Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mele Kyari, has blamed market forces for the increase in petrol pump price from 540 naira to 617 naira per litre. Now you know how we do it. So over the next half hour, we will be looking beyond the business headlines by bringing you in-depth perspective on what's happening in the business world. From the rising fuel price, of course, to its effect, one of which is the rising cost of food. Then we'll take a look at foreign investments. Well, these and more comes to you after the break. Stay with us. Well, hello and welcome to Business This Week. My name is Chinwe Nwokocha. Now, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mele Kyari, has blamed market forces for the increase in petrol pump price from 540 naira to 617 naira per litre. Now, speaking with correspondents after a meeting with Vice President Kashim Shettima at the Presidential Villa Abuja, the NNPCL chief explained that the increase is not based on a short supply of petrol. Kyari's response comes shortly after some stations operated by NNPCL increased the pump price of premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, from 537 naira per litre to 617 naira per litre.
Price, nothing to do with supply. We don't have supply issues. There are a robust supply. We have over 32 days of supply in country. That's not a problem.
On his part, the Chief Executive Officer, Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Farouk Ahmed, said the price increase stems from rising crude prices. He also cited changes in freight prices alongside other ancillary costs importers incur during distribution.
The price of crude was hovering around $70 per barrel. Now it's hovering about $80 per barrel. So of course the crude price also drives the product price. You know, because the importers are importing, they are basing it on the cost of importation plus the freight plus other cost elements in terms of local distribution.
Independent oil marketers confirmed the increase in the cost of the commodity, as they stated that any price shift by NNPCL stations indicated a rise in the pump price of PMS. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has declared a state of emergency on food security. He has also directed that all matters pertaining to food and water availability and affordability as essential livelihood items be included within the purview of the National Security Council. The president also says his administration will deploy some savings from the fuel subsidy removal into the agricultural sector, focusing on revamping the agricultural sector. President Bola Tinubu's declaration of a state of emergency on food security seeks to reverse the inflationary cost of food and ensure availability.
Ensuring that the most vulnerable are supported, the president has declared with immediate effect the following actions. 1. A state of emergency on food security. 2. That all matters pertaining to food and water availability and affordability as essential livelihood items be included within the purview of the National Security Council. Now, as a direct and immediate response to this crisis, a number of initiatives will be deployed in the coming weeks to reverse this inflationary trend and guarantee future uninterrupted supplies of affordable foods to ordinary Nigerians.
The annual inflation rate in Nigeria rose for the fourth consecutive month to a near 18 year-on-year of 22.41% in May this year. This new measure, introduced by the Tinubu's administration, is meant to stop the hike in fuel prices and possibly force a downward trend. The federal government, through the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, will begin to roll out sanctions against members of trade associations guilty of anti-competitive practices, indiscriminate and irrational hike of food prices. Now, Chief Executive Officer of the FCCPC, Babatunde Irukera, said this during a forum organized by the Commission to discuss fair food prices. The forum was titled Fair Food Prices in Nigeria, a high-level forum for better competition. According to Irukera, some trade unions had constituted cartels to engage in anti-competitive practices that have led to price gouging of basic food items. He noted that taking a hard line against indiscriminate food price hikes had become imperative in light of the president's declaration of food security as a national emergency last week. Meanwhile, foreign investments to the manufacturing sector dropped by 35% from $392.5 million in the fourth quarter of 2022 to $256 million in the first quarter of 2022. The National Bureau of Statistics Importation Report for 2023 first quarter has shown. Now, according to the report, the total capital importation into Nigeria in the first quarter of 2023 stood at $1.1 billion, lower than $1.5 billion recorded in the first quarter of 2022, indicating a decrease of 28%. Now, despite the decrease, capital importation into the production sector ranked second within 22% share of total investments, while the banking sector recorded the highest inflow of $304.5 million, representing 26.89% of total capital imported in the first quarter of 2023. Now, in recent months, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria had warned that the increasingly harsh business environment occasioned by high energy costs, lack of access to funding, multiple taxation, among others, had scaled down investments into the sector. Now, the House of Representatives is set to commence investigations into non-remittance of revenues to the Federation account by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. This followed the adoption of a motion need to investigate the non-remittance of due taxes by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited into the Federation account, moved by Odwak Oduduwa during plenary. Moving the motion, Oduduwa, a member of the People's Democratic Party representing Ikorabasi Eastern Obolo Federal Constituency of Akwa Ibom State, noted that Section 162 subsection 1 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999, as amended, provides the Federation account, which receives revenues collected by the federal government of the Federation, except such that exempted therein. Now, in the words of Oduduwa, the allocation of revenue prescribed the basis for the distribution of revenue accruing to the Federation account between the federal, state, and local government areas in Nigeria. The Central Bank of Ethiopia is reported to have performed a $100 million currency swap transaction with its Nigerian counterpart. Under the swap agreement, Ethiopia's national airliner, which has been unable to repatriate funds trapped in Nigeria, took over the Nigeria Cement Company Dangote Cement's profits, which were similarly stored in Ethiopia. Now, according to the report, the two central banks resorted to the swap transaction because the arrangement obviates the need for US dollars when settling. As suggested in the report, the arrangement is seemingly suitable for Ethiopia and Nigeria, which both face ongoing shortages of foreign exchange. The Central Bank of Nigeria has released an updated list of Bureau de change dealers approved in the country. According to the list published by the Apex Bank, the total number of approved BDC operators reduced to 2,991. The document titled Approved BDCs Obtained revealed that the licenses of 2,698 BDC had been withdrawn. The number of BDCs grew by more than 100% under the former CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele, who banned the sale of foreign exchange to BDCs over round tripping and involvement in illegal financial flows. Under the new administration, a new document titled Policy Advisory Council Report, National Economy Subcommittee advised an implementation of key reforms like raising the capitalization of BDC operators. The Nigerian Data Operation Commission has said it is investigating 9 new organizations for data breaches. The National Commissioner of the Commission, Dr. Vincent Olatunji, stated this during an interaction with journalists. While he did not name the firms, he noted that they included an insurance firm, a school, and a consulting firm. He stated this while speaking on the Commission's independence. He noted that the NDPC was currently working with the Central Bank of Nigeria on its social media KYC requirements. Now, according to him, the task of securing the data of Nigerians was huge, but the new Nigeria Data Protection Act of 2023 was up to the task. Nigeria's inflation rate increased to 22.79% in the month of June 2023, representing a 0.38 percentage point increase from 22.41% recorded in the previous month. Now, this is according to the latest Consumer Price Index report by the National Bureau of Statistics. This shows that the headline inflation rate year-on-year basis increased in June 2023 when compared to the same month in the preceding year. Now, food and non-alcoholic beverages led the list of items that contributed to inflation based on the divisional level. Housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuel followed with 3.81%, while communication at 0.15% was the least on the list. While you're still watching Business This Week on Viewer Television, it's time for a short break. And when we return, the program continues. Stay with us.
In this 21st century, where all the information we need is now in the palm of our hands. News from around the world, entertainment, celebrity gossip, sports, and much more. The only thing that you need is the right source. Viewer TV is now on the go. Simply check us out on our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter for all the information you need.
Welcome back. You're still watching Business This Week on Viewer Television. Now moving on, at the backdrop of sustained supply gap in Nigeria's foreign exchange market, the local currency, Naira, hit a new low at the weekend, trading at 803.9 Naira to a dollar in the investors and exporters window, which is the official FOREX market, and 822 Naira per dollar in the parallel market. Now, financial findings indicated a 6.6% decline in the volume of dollars traded in the I and E window, as dealers said they were disappointed that the increase in supply they expected last week did not materialize. A week-on-week trend in the parallel market shows a 5.5% depreciation to 822 Naira per dollar, as against 779 Naira per dollar closing rate in the previous week. Meanwhile, federal government has announced that the 11 power distribution companies in Nigeria have applied for the review of their various electricity tariffs in order to incorporate the changes in the macroeconomic parameters across the country. It disclosed this through a notice published by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. It added that the discourse also stated their reasons for the rate review were premised on factors affecting the quality of service, operations, and sustainability of the companies. In the notice, the NERC stated the application for rates review by the power firms was in line with the rule contained in the Electricity Act of 2023. Recall that some power distribution companies had announced in June that there would be a hike in tariff projected to take effect from July the 1st, 2023. Meanwhile, people with disabilities may have the option of getting cash delivered to them at home during the implementation of the $800 million loan approved by the World Bank as subsidy palliative. This was contained in the payment delivery modalities for NASPPSU documents obtained by news correspondents from the website of the World Bank. According to the document, people with disabilities may ask someone else to open an account on their behalf for the monthly cash transfer or choose to get the cash delivered to them at home. The need for multiple delivery channels to disburse support grants was stated in the document, which noted that about half of the surveyed benefiting population did not have a bank account. It was, however, suggested that digital financial services should be deployed to drive financial inclusion, among others. Meanwhile, on fuel subsidy, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria has said that its members need to increase the price of PMS to stay afloat and remain in business, as the fundamentals of a deregulated market takes toll. Chinedu Okoronkwo, IPMAN president, who granted interviews in line with the new development, said following the removal of subsidy and the deregulation of the PMS market, many IPMAN members have gone out of businesses as they were unable to raise money to load from depots and the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. It was earlier reported that the significant increase in ex-depot price to over 470 Naira per litre in June, which was after the subsidy removal was announced. Now, Okoronkwo noted with the price adjustment by the NNPCL on Tuesday morning, independent marketers raised their prices at retail outlets to match the reality of the times. The National Public Relations Officer Association of Mobile money and bank agents in Nigeria, Olusegun Elebede, has said its members have no intention to revert to old prices charged for services. POS agents under the association recently announced increases in the cost of POS transaction costs and began the implementation of the new prices. Following the move, the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission moved to stop the POS transaction charges. Elebede, however, noted that the association's new pricing regime was operational across the country. He said the recent increase in fuel pump prices strengthened the resolve of POS agents to stick to the new. Meanwhile, the Executive Vice Chairman, Chief Executive Officer, FCCPC Babatunde Irukera, in an exclusive interview stated that the Commission was ready to issue an order to bar POS continuing with their actions. Nigeria's inability to focus on crops with a comparative advantage in its production and can favorably compete is responsible for its poor agricultural exports, experts say. According to Ikechukwu Kelikume, an economist and a lecturer at the Lagos Business School, export opportunities do exist and abound in the country, but for it to be fully tapped, with wide knowledge and information gap must be bridged. He stated that funding is not the biggest problem confronting the country's agriculture, noting that the previous administration focused so much on funding with nothing to show for it. He noted that previous governments have, in times past, thrown a lot of weight into funding, and that led to nowhere, because as long as Nigeria is unable to sell what it produces in countries outside of its shores, much is left to be desired. Still on the agricultural sector, poultry farms across the country are currently shutting down operations due to the persistent hike in price of maize, a major feed birds in the subsector, the Poultry Association of Nigeria has stated. In a statement, the association said the poultry industry in Nigeria is on the verge of total collapse if urgent intervention is not channeled to salvage the industry. The statement, which was jointly signed by PAN's national president, Sunday Eze Obiora, and Director General, Anala Abba, stated that there had been an upward surge in the cost of maize, forcing farmers to shut down their operations. Reports also revealed that maize is a major component, which makes 60% to 70% of poultry feed. And the increase in the cost of maize because of an import ban translated to a rise in the price of eggs in the average, for the average Nigerian rather. Well, that's all we can take on Business This Week today. My name is Chinwe Nwokocha, and on behalf of the entire crew, I say have a wonderful, wonderful day.